Hello everybody, it's Janelle, and I haven't been home from work too long. It's been another really long day, and I tell you, it's really starting to get to me. As I think I've said on a couple of my other videos, I am manager of a retail fabric store, and right now I have just completed my second week of my 3-week preparatory period for inventory. And I have to tell you, I'm really starting to feel a little bit panicked right now. First prep week, I got absolutely nothing done towards preparing my store for inventory. Part of the process of preparing the store for inventory, of course, is to check every bolt of fabric in the store for a valid SKU number. Now, basically what they do in a nutshell, any bolt of fabric that has a valid SKU number has a weight factor already entered into the system for that particular bolt of fabric, and when the inventory company comes in, they don't have to physically measure the fabric on that bolt. They just put it on a scale and they weigh it, and calculations are done that will tell the amount of yardage on the bolt and what the cost was of that yardage, and then it will automatically calculate what the cost of that particular bolt of fabric is. What I have to do to prep the store is, of course, look at every single SKU number on every single bolt of fabric in that store and compare it to the list of SKU numbers that I have that have valid weight factors. If the bolt of fabric, if the SKU number on that bolt exists in the database, then we don't have to do anything with the bolt. But if the SKU number that is on a bolt of fabric does not exist on the listing, it means that that bolt of fabric has to be tagged, and then it must be physically hand measured to determine the yardage of the fabric on the bolt. I have one of the smallest stores in the district, and even in a small store, we've got several hundred, if not close to 1,000 bolts of fabric. It's just a lot to do in 3 weeks. And then, of course, also in terms of prepping the store, I have to make sure my invoices and my packing slips are matched and checked off on my monthly statements and filed. I have to have various other paperwork in order in case an auditor comes in, because they check all of that stuff. We have to clean up and arrange our fabrics. Everything must be in its proper place, etc., etc. It's a lot of work to accomplish in 3 weeks' time. And generally, I expect my sales associates to help by undraping my fabric so the bolts can easily be read. I expect them, as a matter of course, as an everyday thing, to put bolts of fabric back in their proper positions once the fabric has been cut for a customer. I expect on a daily basis that the store is kept clean and neat and orderly as much as possible, that sort of thing. But to tell you the truth, I am really starting to panic because, of course, the first week I played sales clerk so much, I played cashier so much that I absolutely got nothing done in terms of the prep work. This past week was a little bit better. I got a little more work done, but at the end of my second week of my prep period, I should be more than halfway through my store, and I've not even completed half of the store yet. I'm going in at 5 and 6 in the morning, working until the store opens, and then I have been leaving at 6 o'clock or thereabouts, as I'm scheduled to be off. This upcoming week, it looks like I'm going to be pulling even longer hours. I've been going in on my days off to try to do some of this before the store opens so I can get in and out without being stopped by customers. And during the day, I've even brought in some extra people to work the cutting table and the register so that I could possibly get some things done towards inventory, and it hasn't panned out that way. All of this to say that I know in a couple of other prior videos and in some of my blog entries, I've stated that while being on this life journey thus far, I've discovered an inner strength that I didn't really know I have. I've discovered a spiritual strength that intellectually I knew was there, but I really never connected with it until now. And I've definitely stated that I feel that my locks are an outer manifestation of this newly discovered internal strength. What I'm feeling right now, though, my strength feels a little shaken. My spirituality and my emotional stability feels a little shaken at this point. Intellectually, I know that everything will work out the way it's supposed to work out, but I have to tell you, I'm still feeling these old responses of panic and stress, and I'm just not sure how to deal with this, because I feel myself wanting to go back into some old habits and some old ways of dealing with this kind of thing. And I know that supposedly through this process of self-discovery, I've become stronger than this. But I'm not exactly sure that I'm responding as if I'm stronger than all of this. And I guess my question to all of you is, how do you deal with, once you've gone through this emotional and spiritual transformation, how do you deal with trying to keep yourself from falling back into some of these old responses and some of these old habits? I'm not sure that I know. And I know the first thing folks are going to say is, well, if your faith was deep enough, if your spiritual self was true enough, you just wouldn't worry about any of this at all. You would turn it all over and just go on about your business. And quite frankly, that does not help me, because on that level, I know that, I hear that, I understand that. That still isn't helping me to determine how to turn this over and how not to worry. I don't think it's a thing of my faith being strong enough, because I think my faith is strong enough. I think this is a human response, because yes, even though I have a strong faith, I am also human. And this is a human thing to respond to stressful situations like this. It's a human thing to worry. It's a human thing to perhaps lose one's appetite, or perhaps become a little depressed, or perhaps physically feel as if you cannot continue at the pace you're going. It's a physical human response. And what I'm asking is for perhaps some advice or some suggestions on how to not let these physical human responses overwhelm me, because I am starting to feel a little overwhelmed with this situation. If anybody's got any suggestions or any comments or anything at all that would be helpful to me on this, I'd really appreciate it if you'd put it in the response section down here of the video, or send me a message. Anything I would love to hear, and I'd love to hear sooner rather than later. I've got 1 week and 3 days left to go before I get to my physical inventory day, and I would actually like to feel a breath of fresh air. I would like to feel calm and confident come the day of inventory. I would also like to be able to complete the rest of this process without losing my mind. And I would like to complete this process with a really decent amount of sleep, because at this point I'm also feeling very sleep deprived. Going in early, getting home late, and then if and when I do get sleep, my brain is still going on this stuff, so I feel like I'm getting no rest at all. If you've got any suggestions, any wholesome suggestions, no, I don't need to drink myself into a stupor or take sleeping pills, that kind of thing. I'm not into that. But if anybody has any other suggestions that might work, let me know. Okay, that's it. I've got to go because I've run over my time. But you all be blessed. Hugs and peace to you. Take care. And please send me some comments. I need it. You all have a good evening. Bye-bye.